This is the new 2015 Ford Mustang, the all-refined one we've been waiting for. We're taking a quick look at this turbocharged model as well as the V-8 GT. But we have the Dodge Challenger to do first because they sent it first. So stay tuned, the Mustangs will be coming up in the second half of the video. Well, someone out there, someone who loves cats, please take this cat off my hands. He doesn't even live here. He sneaks in my door, comes to my carpet, and massages his claws for hours at a time. Oh, you're gonna leave. Finally, thank you. Don't come back. Oh, I'm sorry. You did come back. You're just changing positions. Rule number 1, don't feed stray cats. Today we're going to be taking a spin in the 2015 Dodge Challenger with the RT Hemi package. Now back in 1970 when the first Challenger was introduced, it was definitely one of the best looking cars on the road. Now this retro model is actually better looking, I think. And here we go with the side view. And from the rear view, there's no doubt while we're driving here. Now the Challenger is from the same family as the Chrysler 300 and the Dodge Charger. So on the outside it's big and heavy, over 2 tons. However, on the inside there's barely enough room for 4 people in here, about the same size as the Dodge Dart. The trunk size isn't too bad, adequate, but probably not as much as you would expect on such a big car. I suppose we might say the Challenger is not a very practical car, but then again I don't think anyone who buys one really cares. I certainly don't. Hey, if it's good looking, fast, and expensive to buy and reasonable to maintain, that's good enough for me. Now the base Challenger engine is a 3.0-liter V6 putting out 305 horsepower. The RT comes with a V8 putting out 372 horsepower, which is what this is. Then there's the SRT at 485 horsepower, and if you have lots of money, there's the Hellcat at 707 horsepower. The fuel rating on this particular engine is 16 in the city, 25 on the highway, 19 mixed. All my driving's been in the city, and I'm getting around 16. Performance-wise, 0 to 60 comes around 5.6 seconds, which is plenty quick for me. Now last year the only automatic offered was a 5-speed automatic transmission. It was okay, but intended more for station wagons and minivans. This year we get the 8-speed automatic, which also has a manual shift override. It also has a sport mode for faster shifting, so you really don't need the manual shifting mode. The automatic's fast enough. Now for those nostalgic guys who want to shift for themselves, the 6-speed manual is still offered, but just be warned, it offers no increase in performance over the 8-speed automatic. In fact, the 8-speed automatic is slightly faster. So take your pick. The Challenger interior has been upgraded a bit. Nothing fancy, but far better than previous models. I find it amazing a car this big has such a dinky glove box, but that's the way it is. You just have to live with it. The door storage containers are just barely enough to hold a big gulp cup. You're not going to be putting much in there either. By the way, I find it rather interesting. It's shaped to put a drink cup in there, but it states specifically on here, do not put a drink cup in there. I haven't quite figured that one out yet. The only place to really store anything is the center console, but there's not much room in there either. Inside we've got a very nice gauge cluster. Push the button, you get all kinds of nice information. And here we have the 0 to 60 computer, showing the best 0 to 60 time of 5.6 seconds. No paddle shifters on this model, but that's okay, you really don't need it. All the controls on the steering wheel are very easy to use. This is definitely one of the nicest steering wheels Dodge has designed thus far. Climate control is very simple, 8 buttons, 1 knob. Doesn't get any better than that. Radio, volume, tuning, doesn't get much simpler than that either. You change the stations by pushing the screen here. Also simple. Now, if the 0 to 60 time of 5.6 seconds on the RT isn't fast enough for you, the 4.8 seconds on the SRT might do, or the 3.5 seconds on the 707 horsepower Hellcat might do. On the other hand, if you can't afford the performance version of the Challenger, don't dismiss the V6. With 305 horsepower, can propel this vehicle to 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds, and it gets 28 miles per gallon on the highway. So you got 4 good engines and 4 good choices here. Oh, this 8-speed automatic is great. Nice brakes too. Now, with outside temperatures running around 105 degrees in this dull silver paint and black interior, it's kind of hot in here. Fortunately, the climate control system does a great job in the air conditioning department, so it cools off real quick, which is one of the advantages of having this cramped interior compared to the Charger in the Chrysler 300. It cools off much quicker. It gets the temperature down where it's more comfortable. This is a very, very comfortable car for long distance cruising, by the way, as you would expect. Now, just a footnote on the Challenger. Earlier in the video, I said this car did 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds. That was with the full tank of gas. Now I've only got a couple gallons left. The car's a lot lighter. I put it in drive, put it in the sport mode, and got a 0 to 60 time of 5.3 seconds, as you can see here. And actually, I wasn't even trying. I just put it in drive, hit the gas, and there it is. I might add, with the 8-speed automatic in the sport mode, this thing shifts so fast, you're just not going to beat this time with the manual mode. Whether you're using the 8-speed automatic and manual override, or the 6-speed manual transmission. Another reason to order the 8-speed automatic gearbox. It's definitely worth the money. Now, like any car, the Challenger does have a few quirks you need to get used to, so you might want to know this before you go buy one. Okay, number one, the auto-dimming mirror has no disconnect switch. So if you do a lot of city driving at night and you don't like driving around with blacked out mirrors, you need to put a piece of tape over the sensor hole here to turn this off. Hey, it works. And number two, if you're looking for a spare tire under the trunk, you're going to be disappointed. Isn't one. Just an air pump. So if you're doing a lot of out-of-state driving, you might want to buy a spare tire to stick in here. Here's the battery, by the way. Okay, if you're wondering how much this car cost, $31,495 base. There's a lot of equipment included at that price. $995 for destination fee, $1,400 for the 8-speed automatic, which I think you should get. $195 for satellite radio, which I have to have. The total comes to $34,085. Now, if you take the $34,000 price tag on this vehicle, figure the discounts that Dodge occasionally gives, you might be able to swing one of these for around $32 grand. And if you don't think that's a bargain, there's something wrong with you. This is a very nice car, and the price isn't that bad. Even the bellhop at the motel can afford a car like this. I'm tempted to call this one of the best American coupes on the road, but since it has a German chassis, thanks to Mercedes, and the company is now owned by Fiat, just call it the semi-American best car on the road. But in concept, it's definitely a true American car, and that's what counts. Oh, that exhaust sound of the Hemi is so sweet. I can't wait till they send me the Hellcat. You guys at Chrysler are going to send me a Hellcat, aren't you? I'm waiting. This is the new 2015 Ford Mustang, the all-refined one we've been waiting for. Now, the base engine is a 3.7-liter V6 putting out 300 horsepower, rated to 17 to 26 miles per gallon with a 6-speed manual, or 19 to 28 with a 6-speed automatic. This is the Performance 2.3-liter turbo. 310 horsepower, a lot more torque at lower RPM, rated at 21 to 32 miles per gallon. It's a nice little package at $1,500 extra, but not quite the competition for the Challenger RT we have today, so we're going to swap this out for the Mustang GT with the big V8. You know, when you hit this car down on the gas pedal on the floor, it moves up pretty good. I think the 2.3 liter is a good idea. Good combination performance and fuel economy. It is a little bit on the rough and noisy side. And it has good brakes for little Prius drivers that want to get in your way. I think I'm really going to like the V8 better. By the way, the 2.3 liter turbo hits 60 in just under 5.5 seconds. When you think about it, that's pretty close to the Challenger RT. But hey, I could have had a V8. Okay, I think this is the one we want, the 5.0. And from a distance, it looks like this. And from the rear, like this too. And the GT emblem, so everybody knows you pay more money for the V8. Under the hood is a 5.0 liter V8 putting out 435 horsepower hooked to a 6-speed automatic transmission or a 6-speed manual like I've got. Now you tell people that on a V8 like this, the automatic transmission performs about as well as a 6-speed manual. They kind of hesitate at first, but it's true. On the other hand, this car is fairly light at 3,800 pounds, and this engine loves to rev. So the 6-speed manual is quite fun to drive. Yeah, this V8 really loves to rev. And the exhaust noise is absolutely perfect. Handling's pretty good too. And with a good tight turning circle. Sorry guys, I had to cut that tape off. We didn't have too much evidence. I showed the interior is a bit difficult because it's kind of dark in here. Lots of black plastic and black cloth. I'm sitting in the back seats, by the way, and I feel like I'm in a sardine can. There's nobody going to sit back here that isn't a small 6th grader, preferably without legs. In fact, I don't even know if I can get out. Here's a tip. If you have relatives in town, you want to get rid of them, make them sit back here for a couple rides and they'll leave in a big hurry. Fortunately for the people in the front seats, life's a lot better. Well, let's see. The headlight controls on the dash on the left where it should be. Thank you for not putting on the steering column stock. The glove box is way too small, I think. Especially if you have an owner's manual in here. But that's what we have to work with. We do get a center console with some space on it, along with 2 cup holders. Actually, the trunk size isn't too bad. There is a lot of room in here for what is a cramped rear seat area. But be warned, some of these do not come with a spare tire. On the Mustang GT, all I get is a crappy air pump. Don't get it flat on the freeway. Either that or buy a spare tire, which is a better idea, I think. You know, the only real gripe I have with this car is down here. This external shelf, which I call the dirt magnet. It collects dirt, mud, which gets all over your pants, and there's really no reason for it to be here. With this ride rocker panel, more dirt on your pants. Look at this. Now my fingers are totally black. You're going to have to keep this car washed quite a bit, and I don't suggest wearing white pants. We also get a low air dam, good for stability, but it's allergic to cement bumps in the parking lot. Got to be careful here too. This isn't cheap to replace, by the way. Now if we're looking at 0 to 60 times, the Challenger weighs over 2 tons, puts out 372 horsepower. So 0 to 60 around 5.6 seconds, or 5.3 when the gas tank gets low and you're losing around 160 pounds. But the Mustang's far lighter at 3,800 pounds, more horsepower at 435. So we're looking at 0 to 60 time around 4.6 to 4.8 seconds. So yeah, it's faster. Now price-wise, the V-8 GT here starts around the same as the Challenger, around the $33,000 mark. But Ford likes to load these up, and it's hard to find a GT for less than 44 grand. I'm not going to pick out a winner here. They're both nice cars, and I take either or. Just give me the keys and I'll be happy. Just a footnote on the Mustang GT. I've been thinking this over, and even though I usually prefer an automatic transmission, on this one I think I have to go with the 6-speed manual, even if it does use more gas. End of story.